Welcome back, Sethbling here. Recently I wrote a program called MarI that attempts to teach itself to play video games via neuroevolution. If you want an explanation for how that works, click the annotation on the screen right now and it'll take you to a video. This is my attempt to use MarI to teach itself how to play Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. And it's very different from Super Mario World, obviously, but it starts off very similarly. It doesn't know anything about how to play the game, including which buttons do what. It doesn't know what the accelerate button is, but eventually through trial and error it does get it, and in fact, very early on it learned how to turn left and actually make pretty good progress through the course. But you know, most of them still just didn't really know what they were doing, didn't press any buttons, and didn't make it any distance. But over time it got better. And here it is completing its first lap around the track. Obviously it's not taking the very best route it could. You don't really want to do this if you're playing the game, smash against the wall. But it did make it around the track, eventually got stuck. Here we are with in Generation 7 with the very first species that made it all the way around the track 5 times to complete the course. This is in time trial mode, so there's no enemies. Generation 7 is actually very, very quick. It took 34 generations to beat the game, or to beat the level in Super Mario World. You could see there to get kind of go in a little bit of a loop, and it actually did that multiple times. So it's definitely not using any sort of efficient path through the level, but it's a good starting point, and you really need a good starting point in order to make progress. Even though it's getting turned around, some slight modifications will prevent it from getting turned around and completing the course a little bit faster. Now this very first time around the entire course, and there it gets turned around again. The very first time it got 2.5 minutes, which is very bad. The world record with Donkey Kong is like 57 seconds. Some of these species got interesting behavior. This one just did a donut and then stopped. This one starts crashing against the wall. It can see the road ahead of it if you look at the bottom half of the screen. It can see the road ahead of it, but it just can't quite get there. This species, well, really liked this pipe. In fact, you can even see it's course correcting to keep driving into the pipe. It really liked the pipe. Mario. Anyway, eventually it actually started doing a lot better. This one species here actually beat the best time. The previous best time was over 2 minutes when this one came along. This one is just a little over 1.5 minutes. So this was actually the very first one that I would consider pretty good. It still drove on the dirt a lot. Now eventually we put this in Grand Prix mode, fighting against other enemies in 50cc, and it actually did pretty well, but sometimes things like this were happening, which is pretty classic Mario Kart. but yeah, it did do pretty well given that there were enemies, and actually it probably helped it evolve that there were a lot of enemies. Here's the very best simulation in 50cc. You can actually see it staying on the road most of the time. It's navigating pretty well. Sometimes it goes off in the dirt. Actually, sometimes that it hits the dirt, it's taking a more efficient path and kind of a shortcut through the dirt. And that is actually something good to do if you're trying to go really, really fast. So this was the best time that we got overall. Anyway, it was really fun doing this. I streamed over the course of about 4 days, and it was really fun watching it learn. I really want to thank Winter Bunny, who modified the original MarI script so that it would work with Super Mario Kart. So thank you very much, and thanks for watching.